Welcome to Networking RX, a podcast devoted to helping business professionals like you enhance your networking skills in order to become more proficient giving and receiving quality business referrals and improving the overall quality of your life and the lives of those around you. The Networking RX podcast is a production of AmSpirit Business Connections, an organization whose mission is to empower business success through networking.
Welcome back for another episode. This is Frank Hagan, founder and president of AmSpirit Business Connections. Thanks for tuning in and thanks for subscribing. Today I have another great guest on here. I have Stacey O'Byrne. Stacey is one of the nation's leading experts in entrepreneurial transformation, easy for me to say, evolution and success. She's an international inspirational speaker who specializes in successology, the science of success. And she's the author of several books, with a few being released soon. She's a co-author with Jack Canfield that was released last February of 2019. And she also co-authored a book with Jay Abrams, which is being released in late spring of 2020 or 2021?
Yes. No, 2020.
Okay,
Yep.
so it's out. And she's a trainer, best-selling author, certified NLP. I got to say this, Neuro linguistic programming trainer. She's part of the Team Referral Network in San Diego, Phoenix, Las Vegas, Orange County, and Long Beach. And I'll just put this out there. Team Referral Network is similar in nature to AmSpirit. And she's also a U.S. Army veteran. Thank you for your service. So Stacey has built 2 7-figure businesses, 3 6-figure businesses. I feel like I'm doing this 12 Days of Christmas. And she's done this 100% from networking, but she's worked with thousands of entrepreneurs, helping them create the success they desire and deserve. And she helps entrepreneurs and salespeople, business owners, make shift happen. I had to say that carefully. Make shift happen in their lives, businesses and bank accounts. If you mean business about business, Stacey can help you make your dreams reality. Stacey, welcome to the program.
Frank, thanks so much for having me on today.
Oh, this is great. Can you take a couple minutes and kind of give us the nickel tour of how you got to this point in time? I mean, you have quite a you've got quite a resume here, and a 20-year overnight success, right?
Pretty much, yeah. I did what I was supposed to do. I went to school. I got a great education. I jokingly tell people I got my BS and BM.
Okay.
And reality was, when I did major in business management, it really did nothing but give me a lot of book smarts about business. And I found myself, after I got out of the military, climbing the corporate ladder really quick. One of the biggest lessons that the Army gave me was the average person caps out at 45% capacity. In other words, just when they're getting started, they think they've given it their all. And it taught me that if I am not falling asleep before I ever lay down, I didn't play full out that day. So it taught me what 100% was. It taught me what a state of excellence was. It taught me what high performance was. And I applied that in every area of my life, personally and professionally. The other thing that the Army taught me was, we do nothing alone. You can't. You cannot survive alone. You need the help and support of other people. So I've taken those 2 learnings and I've applied it into my professional career. Climbing the corporate ladder really quick. I jokingly tell people I got paid $1 a mile plus commission. I flew about 200,000 miles a year. So in a bad year, I made about 300 grand. Good year, I made about $500,000. I was in the air on 9/11. I was actually supposed to be on flight 11. And the night before, I got rerouted to Atlanta to fix some problems with that branch. And it was somebody else's fate that ended up saving my fate. That's when I decided I was tired of living to work, and I was going to start working to live. And I jumped off the cliff and I became a reluctant entrepreneur. And I got $1 million PhD in the School of Hard Knocks doing it.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, I really want to kind of dig into the neuro linguistic programming because you and I were talking before we hit record.
Hmm.
I think a lot of times people think of networking as this kind of transactional. You got to be strategic, stand in the right place in the room, have a good handshake, and all those things are true. But there's
Hmm.
really so much more going on. And I know
Absolutely.
you knowing what you know with NLP, um, that there's a lot of neat things that are happening there, and we can certainly all benefit from those. So I
Hmm.
guess
Hmm.
just share how you tie those in, because obviously I call it, you're a student of networking. You're
Yes.
constantly learning, you're constantly teaching people how you apply those things to help people in your sphere become more successful.
Absolutely. So, when we show up in networking, we show up in service of other people. It's always about them and never about us. I say all of that to say the way we show up in networking is all about us. See, because what happens is, if I may, we have this deployment of a program going off in our brain, our imprint, our relationship with self, our relationship with others, our relationship with success, our relationship with money. All of that is a program that runs. Our computer operating system, we call our brain, I know it as our unconscious mind, was programmed between the ages of 0 to 7. That's our imprint time. So all the significant relationships in our life, the adults who were our mentors, our teachers at that time, we call them parents and grandparents, sometimes teachers, they wrote the computer program that runs today. So think about it. Some people today were raised by people who lived through the Great Depression. Some people today were raised by people who were raised by people who lived through the Great Depression. What lacked during that era? Money,
Yeah,
right? So, because money lacked, a lot of that was instilled in today's business owners, today's entrepreneurs, and sales professionals. So, when they walk into an environment, I call it the itty bitty shitty committee. The itty bitty shitty committee deploys the program. That's the voice in the head. The one that says, I don't have a voice in my head. The one that says, you can't do something, or that's expensive, or you can't ask that, or you can't say that, or you can't do that. That voice in the head is what holds us back. Sometimes we know them as limitations. Sometimes we know it as self-worth, self-esteem. However you know it is the program that gets deployed. So many people spend so much time upgrading their laptops, their technology, their softwares, their smartphones. They spend zero time upgrading the operating system that propels their life forward or keeps it the same. And newsflash, there's always movement in life. There's no such thing as standing still. You're either moving forward or you're moving backward,
right.
because life is always going. So that human element, how we show up, the way we believe in ourselves, one of the biggest things I see with entrepreneurs and sales professionals and business owners in the networking environment is they keep their ask small. That's ASK. They keep
Right.
it very small because, let's face it, you hear all those transactional asks. A good referral for me today is somebody dot dot dot, right? Well, for one, we know running networking organizations, whenever you say anybody, everybody, and somebody, it always means nobody.
Yep.
The reason why is because the brain is incapable of achieving ambiguity. The brain can only achieve specificity. So what happens is our brain processes information in pictures. So when you say anybody, everybody, somebody, the brain can't grab a picture of that. But when you turn around and say a family expecting their first child, they get a picture and they know who it is.
Right.
The other thing that happens is people went through school and they learned how to pass, right? When you ask a kid, what are you doing? And they say, I'm studying to pass my test. The problem with studying to pass, the problem with going for passing, is if you miss, guess what happens? You fail,
Yeah.
right? You don't make it, you don't hit the mark. Well, people have taken that practice into their business. they take that mentality of, I got to pass. They either know it or they don't know that they're doing it. See, it's the blind spots that get us. It's the blind spots that bite us in the butt. So when you don't know that you are running that passing mentality, you set the bar low. When you set the bar low, you either hit it or just miss.
Right.
You know, my dear friend Les Brown says, shoot for the moon, because if you miss, at least you land among the stars. The problem with entrepreneurs is they set the bar low and they either hit it or they just miss. And if they just miss, that means being $400 or $600 shy of making ends meet that month. If you showed up to give 100%, if you showed up to achieve 100%, if you miss, there's a high probability you're going to land at about 90 to 80%. That's far better than 60 to 70%.
Right.
And all
Now,
of that has to do with their
earlier
program.
you said is successful people ask small, I think you say.
No, successful people ask big.
Okay, gotcha.
Entrepreneurs, business owners, and sales professionals typically ask small.
Okay. What do you mean by small?
The transactional, the onesie twosies. So the real estate agent that's looking for someone who wants to buy a home. Mm-hmm. Instead of asking to be connected to a mommy and me organization or an HR organization or HR departments, you know, there's really big asks that will feed you forever. Yes. Versus the small transactional asks that will put food on your plate once.
Gotcha. Okay. And I totally agree with that. One of the things I am fond of saying is little things turn into big things. And that's not in opposition to what you're saying. You know, we're both talking about specificity, but what I always see, and I've talked to my financial advisor who's very successful, he said, nobody ever showed up with $1 million, right? It all started with these little things, you know, I'm just getting started, or I want to open up a Roth IRA, and they get a sense for him, and then all of a sudden they're moving other monies over, rolling over 401k, and it grew bigger and bigger, but nobody just showed up with $1 million. But he was always very specific about, hey, this is what I'm looking for. If you know of somebody who works at XYZ company and they've lost their job, that would be a good referral for me. And again, then, like you say, I call it our mental Rolodex. The mental Rolodex starts to churn. Well, who do I know at ABC company? I do know somebody. Oh my gosh, you know, he's in my euchre club. I need to reach out to him. So I totally get what you're saying. Well, and you talk about that in your book. I did get a copy of Secrets to Becoming a Master Networker. You talk about the different types of referral sources, and I'm trying to think the term you used. You used the term strategic referral partners, and you spent 2 chapters really kind of talking on that. 20-some pages talking about, you know, what are the different referral sources that are out there.
So referral marketing environments, small business professional networking, they have a few different types of referral sources. And it's really important to understand that the environment operates off Pareto's principle, the 80-20 rule. Right. 80% of our referrals are going to come from 20% of our relationships. So you have your casual referral partners. Your casual referral partners, these are the people that have different avatars, different prospective clients. You may be business to business. They may be business to consumer. Doesn't mean that they're not going to be able to give you a referral. It just means that they may meet 1 or 2 people a year that have a need, want, and desire for your product, service, and solution. So let's face it, 80% of the marketplace that you're out there seeing is going to fall into that casual referral source, right? However, if you show up in a space of authenticity and congruency, if you're in alignment, if you've got the right programs running, if the right person is showing up, because newsflash, where we go, we follow, and everywhere we are, there we're at. So when you have those money issues and those negative self-talk going on, that gets projected out to people. So in order for you to be the attraction magnet, you've got to have the right programs running internally. So these casual referral partners then get attracted to you. You can be of service to them, still connect with them, be personable, ensure communication happens, and build an ongoing relationship with them. So 80% of the people you meet can still contribute 20% of the referrals to you.
Right.
Now, you have your strategic referral partners, also known as power partners. These are the people that have the same target market as you. They don't compete with you. There might be a little bit of overlap, like the financial advisor and the life insurance agent. Reality is they can either learn to play in a sandbox together or a kitty litter box together.
Right.
They can learn to work with each other if they so choose. And these strategic power partners, they meet our people every day. They attract our avatar. They align with our avatar, and if we build strategic relationships with them to ensure that it becomes a win-win-win, we end up being able to align with the best of the best so that we can offer the best of the best to everyone. That's where the magic is, because 20% of your relationships, 20% of the people that you're going to meet are going to be able to align you with 80% of your referral business.
Right. What do you think about, I guess maybe a little off topic, what do you think about, we'll use banks, for example. They're getting into everything. I've joked from time to time, your banks are into banking. They're into financial services, financial planning, financial advising. They're into insurances, life insurance, property casualty insurance. Hell, they'll wash your dog for a buck. I mean, that's an exaggeration, but
Yeah.
do you find that impairs their ability to create these strategic partnerships?
So I believe that we all have our ideal focus. And I believe that when we try to be everything to everybody, we're nothing to nobody.
Yeah.
Because we get too diluted. And when something like the banking system, and that's, in my opinion, a very controversial topic,
right?
Because most people don't understand fractional lending and everything like that.
Yeah.
They are 100% in business for them and their stockholders, which is fine, because all business people are in business to make a profit. However, there's a difference between utilizing your knowledge and your capabilities for influence or utilizing your knowledge and your capabilities for manipulation. And I think that when a company shows up and tries to be a jack of all trades and a master of none, but shoves all their services down people's throats, you have to step back and look at the ulterior motives.
Yeah. Well, it's not, I don't mean to just pick on banks. I see people in my organization who, the accountant who also is the financial advisor. And I'm fond of less is more, right? Go narrow. So someone who coaches me with my podcast, he says, go narrow, don't go too broad. People have podcasts. We use this as an example. They have a podcast and they try to appeal to everybody, right? They appeal to everybody. And back to your statement, when anybody, somebody, equals nobody.
Yeah.
When you go broad, it doesn't really speak to anybody. And his thing is go narrow, have a niche and build out that niche.
So I have my own personal philosophy and humble opinion about it. And
that's what this is for. Let's share it.
I know. There you go. So we have two different types of sectors. We have I'm going to call it corporate greed. Now, keep in mind, I run and own a multi-million-dollar corporation. However, the number one foundation in my corporation is integrity. And we show up to inspire, impact, and transform. So in order for that to happen, it's got to be a win-win-win. I think some of these corporations have gotten away with, I don't want to call it murder, but they've gotten away with a lot of fraud. And that just falls into the bucket of corporate greed for me. Okay. They've lost sight of the responsibility of a product, service, and solution to be of service and earn our clientele, our prospective client, every second of every minute of every hour of every day. That's our responsibility, to earn that relationship every time, in my humble opinion. So you got the corporate greed clouding that vision. On the other end, the entrepreneur, the solopreneur, the business owner that attempts to, I lovingly call it category squat, and try to be multiple things to people. Sometimes, most times, what I see is that someone who is a floundering business person. They don't have the clarity, they don't have the vision, they don't have the plan, they don't have the structure. So they kind of spray and pray. I lovingly say, show up and throw up. And they try to offer everything to everybody because they've got the scarcity thing running and they're just trying to make it.
Yeah. And the more they grab for, the less they get.
Exactly.
Is the irony of it.
Yeah.
And it's sad, but it's hard to kind of coach somebody off that, because like you say, when they have that scarcity mentality, it is such a leap of faith to pull back from that. Such a leap of faith. And it's hard to get them to do it. I experienced that myself years ago when I was in what's now my organization, AmSpirit. I was the attorney, and they approached me early on and said, hey, we have this other attorney who would like to get into the group. And I'm like, oh boy, really? I'm the attorney. It's like, yeah, but he does some different things. And I really kind of thought on it. I'm like, okay, I'm going to take a chance on this. What's the worst that's going to happen? And it turned out it was probably one of the best things that happened. I was the business attorney. That's what I was strongest at. That's what I wanted to do. He's kind of the real estate guy, and he's working in areas of zoning and stuff I knew nothing about. And there were a lot of, so I could refer things to him, and things I did he couldn't handle. And so then we're like, hey, let's get an estate planning attorney here. Let's get a criminal attorney in here. And most people looking at it said, you guys crazy? It's like, no, it just less is more. But it's a hard thing. It's a hard leap of faith.
So
all right.
Can I tell you a really funny story about that?
Please. Yeah.
So you know that I am a franchise owner on the West Coast of a category exclusive organization as well, called Team Referral Network. And we had a chapter in Brea, and we jokingly referred to it as the law firm of Brea.
Okay.
Because it had 22 members, and out of the 22 members, 16 of them were JDs.
Oh my gosh, that's funny.
Now, not all the JDs were practicing attorneys.
Sure.
They had a real estate attorney, an estate planning attorney, a family law attorney. They had a business attorney. They had a tax attorney. I think they had 7 or 8 physically practicing attorneys. And then all the other JDs, the Mary Kay girl was a JD, the florist was a JD. It was crazy.
Oh my gosh.
I walked in that meeting and my palms would sweat.
Yeah.
So that chapter, that specific chapter, passed more referral business because they all figured out how to be power partners.
Right.
All these attorneys, they passed more business than the entire territory combined. It was crazy.
I believe it.
Yeah, it was insane.
I totally believe it. Totally believe it. All right. We've got people listening. How can they help you?
Oh, wow. So I just launched my podcast called Sell Without Selling. It's where physically the mindset, skill set, and knowledge develops the 7-figure successology. So it's everything that an entrepreneur, a business owner, and a sales professional needs, wants, and desires to have the level of success that they've always wanted. We launched it this past week, and I would love for people to look me up, Stacey O'Byrne, and it's Sell Without Selling. And we're on anywhere you listen to podcasts. And if you could just subscribe, listen, review, that would be great. And also, if they could join our Facebook community. It's called the Sell Without Selling community. We have already about 400 members and an immense amount of interaction just starting.
Oh, that's great. How would people contact you?
Okay. So the best way to contact me is they can go to my website, pivotpointadvantage.com/talk-to-Stacey, pivotpointadvantage.com/talk-to-Stacey, and that'll pop up a calendar for them to get on my calendar and have a 15 to 30-minute chat with me.
If it's okay with you, I'll put that in the show notes.
Oh, that's perfect. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I will do that. Well, I appreciate having you on today. It's been very insightful.
Oh, Frank, thanks so much. I've enjoyed talking with you. I appreciate it.
Thanks for joining us on the Networking RX podcast. Please put what you've learned into action today and let us know if you have questions, comments, or ideas for future topics. You can email them to us at podcast@amspirit.com. That's AMSPIRIT.com. Finally, so you never miss an episode, be sure to subscribe to the Networking RX podcast through iTunes, Overcast, or however you receive your podcasts. Now get out and network with someone.
The Networking RX podcast is the copyright production of AmSpirit Business Connection. All rights reserved.